let's talk about what it means to really break down your own walls. Now, the reasoning for this video came up as I'm thinking about some of the times growing up where I was a really, really nice guy. And just a few years ago, for anybody to say that would be a good thing. You know, you are a nice guy. But we all know in today's world, especially as it relates to male and female interactions, to be a nice guy is probably one of the worst things that you can be in this world. So I was a very, very nice guy. I believed all of the Disney, love stories that they claim were made for little girls, but it seems to me that boys were the ones who believed that they were supposed to rescue these women. And I was one of them. I believed that there was this one girl out there for me, and I'd be happy and all of this, and we'd be able to go forth and accomplish all the things that we wanted in this world. And every time that I felt like I find that person and I do all of these things thinking that being a nice guy is who I needed to be, it'd be disastrous, obviously, because as we know, nice guys supposedly finish last, assuming they finish at all. So when I came out of that nice guy era, when I came out of thinking that, I'd be able to just find this perfect love and just be a good guy for some girl, and, that the fairy tale ending was going to be, you start to change how you operate with people. And it's not just, your interactions with your preferred gender of whatever. it's your interactions with everybody. It changes. So I realized that there were walls that I now built because I saw that the message that I was getting from my world, I could not trust. I couldn't trust that how I was using the world to show me how to operate. But I couldn't trust that the message that I was receiving for how to operate was accurate. And I didn't have parents to guide me, to be, some type of influence for me. And later on in life, the time that I spent with those who tried to take on that role, that didn't help as well. So for me, a lot of it was doing and learning through looking at my world and adjusting myself as a result of how I see the world, reacting to what the world sees in me. Now, of course, later on, I began to understand that my internal state of being creates my reality. My thoughts and my emotions create my realities. But at this point, I didn't know that, right? I'm growing up. I'm learning all of these things. I'm just trying to figure out, how do I get somebody to love me? How do I actually show somebody that I care without them, just looking at me and assuming that I'm a bad person, or that I have some type of bad motive? Because at that point, I really didn't. Just looking for that one, or a friend, or a connection that I could actually trust would last, and wouldn't just fall out. So at a certain point, after being beaten down, and it can take many ways, we all experience this, you start to build up these walls. And it wouldn't be as bad if, you had like some type of secret code that you can press in there to help, like create an entry point for somebody that you want to let through. But you don't have that. What you have is an unscalable mountain that you expect other people to scale to get to you just because. And that's what I had. And what I had to learn was that if I don't break down my walls, I can't expect anybody else to. If I can't bring myself back to a state of just giving people the space to freely be them, and whether or not, them freely being them leads to them having some measure of love for me or not, at least I'm showing love in the way that I can. That's not, oh, let me, take out some money and give to you. Let me, go out of my way. No, I'm loving in a way that I can maintain. And that is by giving people space to be them. And doing my damnedest not to judge what I see when they're being them. And understanding that just as they have that space, just as I can give them that space to be them, I can do the same exact thing for myself. I can give myself that same space to be me. And I cannot judge whatever comes up as I'm allowing myself to live and be me. Breaking down your walls starts when you begin to accept the things about yourself that for years you shied away from. Everybody is weird as fuck. Everybody has their quirks. And the fact that in society we go out and we commune in groups and to talk about the quirks that you have, the things that make you uniquely you, is taboo. Or if you have a unique style or unique expression, people may look at you a certain way. Perhaps you're a dude who was fat younger, like me. Was overweight. Got in tons of fights. Just because of misunderstandings. I was, a dude who didn't really take care of myself for a long time. And I didn't realize how much of an impact that had on how I felt about myself. Go figure. So for me, I'm thinking, or I'm looking at everyone else when I wasn't taking care of myself like that. And I'm assuming that they have a method of taking care of themselves that's so astronomically beyond what I have or can do. And as a result of that, I'd feel depressed. Like I've somehow missed something, and all is lost. And what I'd have to do is sit down and be alone. I had to remove myself so much that from everything outside of me that I was drawing assumptions from, that all I could see was me. And then it began to make sense when people say that this is your personal race. You don't compare yourself to anybody else. This is your life, right? And you're wherever you are, is not reflective of, some type of competition between anybody. There's no competition unless you create that with somebody else. The only competition is with you. So I had to remove myself from everything essentially in order to get to a point where I could even begin to look at myself and see where I was, not judge it, and not see tons of people who were in different places, some perceived to be further, some perceived to be behind, but not judge it and create stagnation from procrastination of saying, oh, there's people behind me, I'm good. Or create an anxiety and leading to procrastination from saying, oh, there's people who are so far ahead of me. Removing myself after removing the judgment and allowing people to be them, removing myself, and just like spending time in the silence. Sometimes I'd be meditating, sometimes not, but I was alone. And it was in those times that start to see where the walls are. Now, I'm not saying that the amount of time that I've been alone, because now I'm starting to come out of it and it's difficult. So I'll do another video on, dealing with social anxiety. But coming out of it, now you can see where those walls are. When you're interacting with people, you can see where your prejudices are. You can see where the anxiety begins, where your assumptions about how others perceive you begin. And those are the walls that you need to break down. Those are the beliefs that you've held that you need to let go of in order to allow the walls to fall. These walls were built by beliefs. The only way for you to tear down these walls is to change the things that you believe. You can't change what you believe if you're not willing to accept what you actually believe. This isn't what you tell yourself you believe. This is what you're actually acting on as a result of believing it. The only way that you see that is by being alone. And in that time when you're alone, monitoring yourself, seeing what you actually do, and then asking yourself, why do I do that? Seeing what you actually believe when you go out and you're not trying to be the cool one of the group. You're not trying to be the nerd of the group. You're not trying to be in a group. You're just seeing how groups operate and what feels good to you, what feels bad to you, what feels awkward to you. All of those feelings stem from beliefs. The mixture of how those feelings arise in you stem from what you believe, how much faith you have in that belief. And a lot of times it comes from certain experiences that you have and that you replay in your mind. But I can go on and on about how to break down these walls, but this let's just call this a part 1. This is part 1. And we're going to go a lot deeper because I'm in the process of breaking down my walls. And I want to analyze this and I want to get to the minuscule details of it so that we all can start breaking down our walls. I want this place to be so free that the weirdness that we all are is not taboo to see. It's actually welcome. And maybe that's just a pipe dream. Maybe I'll just live in a different world for all of my life. But this is me acting on faith. And this is me doing my best. I love you. I want to see the fullest expression of you. This is a spark.